This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's talk about the new goings on, though. It's mainly centered around WCW's new man in charge, Bill Watts, the cowboy coming into the company. Were you excited about this, or did it feel like you had graduated from that point in your career? I mean, this is a political environment here. What was your thinking when you heard, hey, man, Watts is coming to town?
Well, I was very surprised, Conrad, because like I said before, Bill and I didn't talk about him coming to Atlanta before he came. So I didn't know he was even considered for the job, or the job was open. Of course, I also didn't know that Kip Fry was going to be resigning.
Right.
So I'd like to say I was really excited and jacked about it, but I just wasn't sure that the absence of being away from the business and working with talents and so forth and so on was still something Bill was real interested in. So I was a little bit leery, to be honest with you. And I knew that if he got settled in and got in his own lane and created his own way, he could do great things. I just wasn't sure what his communication skills were going to be this long removed from action.
I'm excited to talk about Kip Fry. He quits the company on Wednesday. Meltzer would say it came as no surprise to anyone. Fry reportedly had no idea they were literally pulling the rug from underneath him when it came into power in the hiring of Bill Watts as the vice president in charge of wrestling operations. Quote, while Fry was given a figurehead position to save face, nobody expected it to last. According to several reports, Fry was transferred within the Turner organization and will work under Jack Petrick in a proposed new division, which the Turner Empire will produce records, films, and Broadway shows. Fry's spot and the number 2 man in the company will be Jim Ross. I'm not certain whether Ross is officially titled vice president, but he'll be handling the production of all the TV shows, the marketing, the merchandising, and will become the company liaison with Turner Home Entertainment, which is in charge of pay-per-view events. So let's take a pause right there. So there's a lot going on here very quickly. Kip was sort of steering the ship, if you will, once Jim Herd was out. And now here comes Bill Watts. And it's written here in the Observer that Mr. Fry didn't really expect that. Is that the way you remember hearing that?
Yeah, it was a surprise. Another one of those knee-jerk deals. And he probably deserved better, to be honest with you. Kip Fry was a good guy. I don't know how many people heard you talked about Kip, but you'll have a hard time finding people that just, damn him. He was he's a decent dude. He loved his Blue Devils. I know that. But I always enjoyed working around him. He had a very pleasant demeanor. He just didn't have any product knowledge.
Right.
And somewhere along the way, you're going to wonder how these wrestling companies believe they can be successful by hiring somebody that's in a decision-making process that doesn't understand the business.
Right.
And that'd be like, hey, Conrad, I want to buy a new house. I want to get a mortgage. Well, I don't know if I can do that. Well, you're in the mortgage business. Well, I know, but, ain't no but. You
Right.
are in the mortgage business.
Right.
So I don't know. I like I said, I didn't have any issues with Kit, but all those things that I just heard I was assigned to do, that's news to me, to be honest with you.
Okay. So he got that wrong. Let's talk a little bit about that, though, because Eric and I have spent a lot of time talking about this, and I don't think a lot of our listeners maybe have figured this out. But these days, as we're talking now in 2022, man, the number one chief revenue item for a wrestling promotion is the television rights fees. Of course, this is a wrestling company owned by a television company, so there are no rights fees associated with it. So whereas WWE makes $1 billion for SmackDown or whatever, WCW, in theory, makes $0 for producing the television because it is, in fact, a television company. So it's a totally different, whole new ball of wax, as they say. But let's talk about Turner Home Entertainment, because I've often heard that the revenue that was derived from pay-per-view, well, that didn't go on WCW's ledger. That went on Turner Home Entertainment. And the same for the video cassettes, because VHSs were a big deal.
Yeah.
You talk about being at a disadvantage. All these years it was said, we know WCW never turned a profit until 1995. Well, goodness gracious, if they're not getting paid for their TV, and when they sell a pay-per-view or a video cassette, they don't get credit for that either. Well, it's no wonder we couldn't turn a profit, right?
Yeah. Well, it's just a great look at how disrespected the brand was.
Yes.
Nobody wanted to be associated with the old Tar Baby thing, wrestling. That's not going to be good for my resume. Just I was working in wrestling. So that's kind of, but that was the general feeling all along. You know, wrestling was kind of looked like the old proverbial redheaded stepchild. And I got nothing against redheaded stepchildren.
It's amazing to me that, you know, WCW existed as long as it did in this regard.
It was a hard place to work, Conrad, because of reasons just like you're outlining.
Meltzer would say, on Ross's radio show Sunday night, most of the callers and questions revolved around the hiring of Watts, with probably few, if any, listeners realizing the promotion Ross himself had just received. Ross talked about the center stage tapings on June 1st and June 2nd, which will be the first tapings Watts is in charge of, and said that people won't be waiting hours to see wrestling matches, in reference to the tapings of the new Saturday night TBS show that was Fry's brainchild, which saw few matches taped at each taping and long delays for the fans attending as all the live segments were taped. So I think we both agree that while Kip may have been a great guy, that idea of making you essentially a talk show host and less wrestling, more talking, that was maybe not the best idea.
I agree. Yeah, I was uncomfortable with it. I didn't like being out there in that environment because I didn't think the fans were going to like it, no matter what guests we had.
Right.
And so it wasn't a good concept. It was built to fail, and it did.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.